Just digging the song for some reason, man. It's just it's like therapeutic and soothing to me, Jay Phillips. I don't know. Just enjoying it.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Arcadia Fire. I know you love those guys out of Canada. You know, they once won a Grammy, I think, for Best Album.
Yeah, you guys told me that they were good. I don't know. I don't doubt it. I don't know.
I mean, I've heard maybe 5 songs. I'm not going to sit here and die on that hill. I've heard like 5 songs. They were good. That was our cool fancy intro, Arcadia Fire.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, man. You good? You good, Phillips? You all right? Hanging in there?
I'm here. So that's.
Yeah, we missed you the last couple of days, you goober.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got the plan now. Got a couple of other just minor hoops to jump through, and we'll get this thing started, man. And then you're gonna miss me a little bit more, I think, before I'm back to spoil the party on a regular basis.
Oh, good. Just hang in there. Let's get her done, okay?
That's it.
Absolutely. All right, Football Friday. We'll have our buddy Langston Moore, 3:15. We'll talk to Langston about, well, you're a big underdog. You're going into College Station, a team that right now is arguably in the conversation of the best squad in America, and you're getting your new interim offensive coordinator. That's a hell of a baptism by fire there, Jay, just saying.
Well, it is. It's a big ask, and that's again, I don't know at this point, Terry, for how fans are looking at this, what their expectation levels are. It varies from fan to fan, obviously, and some always, I don't want to say expect their team to win, but everybody wants them to go win. I think I'm most curious to just see what's different, but as we've talked about a bunch, there's a couple of factors here. Number one, if you're not blocking well up front, how much does it matter? And on that note, you are going up against one of the premier defensive lines and really defensive units in the country this season in terms of what A&M does, and it's in their building. So, how much you can really show against a team that is playing as well as the Aggies. Again, I'm curious. I don't know what that's going to feel like. But my biggest thing, and we'll talk with Langston about this, what I've been saying is, how much more fun can they have? Because you could clearly see that frustration and angst had crept in as much as anything else. And as Shane has talked about, and a lot of coaches talk about, sometimes it's simply a new voice that is able to provide a little bit of a lift. But we talked about earlier in the week Mike Furry's kind of energy and style relative to Mike Shula maybe being a little more stoic. And, again, all those things sound great until you put them in practice and see how it goes. And in this case, not practice, but, into a ball game. Go execute your plays. It's a big ask tomorrow. It's a big ask. And you're an 18.5-point underdog, as you said.
Yeah, I guess the thing, and you and I have been saying this the whole time because, well, it's duh. If you don't block, the rest of this doesn't matter. And let's be real. Okay, my personal confidence level, that South Carolina on the line of scrimmage is going to be able to hold their own against Texas A&M's defensive front on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm sitting at about, Jay, a -10 at this point. Yeah. Plus, you've got some injury issues. Josiah Thompson's questionable. You don't have Shivers. You don't have Casey Henry. So, my thing, I think you and I have had batted this around too. At some point, as an offensive coordinator, and you don't say it out loud, but you got to start scheming with the idea we can't block. And how do we scheme around the fact that we just can't consistently line up and win? Okay, what can you win at? Is there anything you do okay enough? Get the ball out of your quarterback's hand quick so he doesn't get decapitated. Start doing some things that makes sense with your personnel and quit thinking, okay, this week it'll be better because it hasn't been better all year. I mean, one of the things I was talking to you about last week or after the Ole Miss game is you're running guys deep down the field and your offensive line can't protect. I mean, help me, Jay. If you can't protect the quarterback so he can sit in the pocket and wait for a deep route to develop, why are you running deep routes? Because all you're doing is setting your quarterback up for a beating. Right. So for me, I'm hoping I see something from Mike Furry and that offensive staff that says we recognize who we are and who we aren't. Let's start scheming to who we are, or we're never going to get a bleeping thing done.
Well, I just wonder, too, to that point, because we've talked about it a bunch, and I know Shane mentioned it at length in his Tuesday press conference about previous OCs and some of the myths versus some of the facts, at least from his point of view. But we talked about seeing this head coach make decisions in season that have had positive effect because it has been just that. Hey, I don't think as the head coach we're utilizing the personnel at our disposal the way we should. And we've seen it pay dividends. Is it, and you and I know many others talked about this. What were the conversations like a month ago? Maybe even as it was going to be decided that Lonnie Teasley was out and Sean Elliott was going to take over up front. What were you talking to Mike Shula about in terms of the utilization of personnel? Because, again, Terry, we would see flashes of it here or there, and then it would just be a reversion to what Mike felt most comfortable with. I even talked to you about it, at the Alabama game. Just too many runs up the middle. Even on the one drive where Lenoris did end up scoring, but I still thought, you start that drive with something different. And, okay, ultimately it worked out for you. But another drive where you started running up the middle and it didn't work out for you. It's just you're not fooling anybody. And so, not that you have to fool people all the time, but you've got to find a way to take advantage of who you got. And we've seen Shane do that. Now, is it – I keep coming back to this term, big ask. You got to go on a 3-game win streak to make a bowl game, and this is where you have to start. So, again, how much new utilization of who you're running with can you actually take advantage of tomorrow afternoon? That's to me, again, big curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to hide it. I picked A&M to win this game, and I think I went 34-20 or 33-20.
That was my pick. That was exactly my pick. 34-20.
Yeah, I'm first of all,
and 20 feels like that's a
I know.
That's a big ask.
I was the same thing. I was sitting there, I wrote it down and I'm like, okay, how confident am I about the 20? And I'm like, okay, here's what I feel like. I feel like that obviously A&M has no idea what Mike Furry's going to do. And maybe, just maybe, Furry and the offensive staff can do some of the stuff you and I are talking about, and maybe they can get something going before A&M can adjust. And maybe they can, get a score in, or God forbid, maybe a couple before A&M adjusts to what might be going on, and then it becomes tough sledding. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm thinking we're going to see what we've been seeing all year, a team whose defense finds a way by their fingernails to hold on and keep the game close, but then eventually they just can't hold on any longer, and all of a sudden the score becomes worse than it really is. I don't know, or maybe I don't know, Jay. I'm running out of I don't know.
That's just it. I mean, it's just what again, and that comes back to my original point of what an expectation level is. I mean, for an offense that has not scored more than 22 points on its own all season, do you really expect to go score more than that on the road against an undefeated number 3 team in the country that has one of the most efficient defenses in the nation this season? That's, if you expect it, I might lower that bar.
Yeah, I mean, that I was looking over A&M this week, and we haven't had a chance to talk last couple of days. A&M has only scored under 30 points once all year, and that was that weird game against Auburn.
That Auburn game, yeah.
That was it. Besides that, they're just rolling. Offensively, they're a machine. They've got a quarterback firing on all cylinders. Running backs are good with or without Le'Veon Moss. The wide receivers can make plays, even though Casey Concepcion has 5 drops. When he does get it in his hands and doesn't drop it, he's dangerous. Offensive line is solid. I mean, it's just offensively, man, they're going to be tough to corral for 4 quarters, and you've got to get some help for your offense. Maybe Vakari Swain shows up again with a punt return or whatever. Maybe your defense can get you some kind of a big play. You're going to need some special stuff on Saturday, I guess what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And I think that's got to be a big part of the game plan this weekend is an extra deep dive from Shane and Joe DeCamillis into where they can make a difference on special teams. and find a way, because I'm with you. It's an offense that's difficult to slow down. And if you're not scoring to help them out, it's just, even if you are getting stops, what does that really look like in the end?
Yeah, and what's weird about A&M, I think 2 of the last 3 weeks, they've given up a lot of yards on the ground. I mean, Missouri had 2 backs go over 100. Missouri's a really good run team, right? Arkansas went over 200 and averaged 8 yards a carry, but you know what? Arkansas is a really good run team. Guess what? South Carolina's not. They rely on Lenora Sellers. That wasn't what was going on in these 2 other games. I mean, Taylor Green at Arkansas got some run yards, but it was running backs who were making damage. And South Carolina's running backs and run game has not shown that they could take advantage of any kind of leakage against the opposition at all this year. And that's a shame, because maybe you could find some sliver of hope in something like that. But, again, you haven't been able to run the ball against anybody consistently this year.
No. And there again, I'll say, Terry, expecting to suddenly be able to do that this weekend. Look, I would almost say I wouldn't care who it was against. Certainly in conference play, I would say it's a big ask to think you're going to have wholesale change this weekend. But against this team especially, and whether they know a lot about what Mike Furry wants to do or how Mike Furry might call a game, the one thing I think A&M does know is what everybody else knows. Hey, that line is struggling. Mm-hmm. Go right for the jugular, and don't let 16 have a day.
Right.
So and what that looks like as well. So again, how much Mike Furry can adjust things to allow what I've been one of the terms I've been saying for the last month or so, let Lenoris be Lenoris. Mm-hmm. What does that look like tomorrow? That's another huge factor here, whether the line is playing better or not, is can you have Lenoris be Lenoris? And will they make some changes for him? Who knows?
What I hope happens tomorrow, and again, this is just me, I would like to see them get the ball out of Lenoris's hands quick, get him some easy completions, whether it's a bubble screen, little shallow crossers, slants, just something where it gets out of his hand and he sees completions, right? Like a basketball player seeing the ball go through the basket. Just let him get some completions early, even if it's short, easy stuff. Let him get some kind of a vibe and a rhythm and a feel, and that'll get him, juiced up, and maybe we can get him going in a positive direction like that. Just don't have him sit there in a 7-step drop, hold the ball, and be a sitting duck. Just don't do that, because that's not going to be good for anybody. It just really isn't.
Right. Agreed.
All right, this Langston Moore guy is going to show up today, right?
Yeah, let's see what he says about attacking, from a defensive perspective, even if he's a Gamecock. How would he want to look at this offense? That's going to be one of my big questions to him. So, spoiler alert.
Way to go. Anyway. All right, Langston Moore is going to hang out with us next. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, we're rolling the post-game show up until 6 here on the game. We got a Football Friday rolling. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, post-game show, and of course, it's not a Football Friday without our guy, our man, our myth, our legend. Give him the intro, Jay.
The former Gamecock D lineman, team captain, draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, longtime NFLer, husband, father, softball expert, barbecue aficionado, cheer dad, children's book author, public speaker, and again, all-around man about town, Langston Moore.
He always forgets the member of the media / beat reporter. He always forgets it.
That's true. That's true.
I just need one of those fedoras with press on the top of my head.
That's right.
That's what I need. Bring that back. Bring that back.
Langston Moore here on the beat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gotta work. A cigar that's never lit, but I'm always chewing on it. Yeah, something
That's
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at those footballers go. Be one of those guys. Be one of those guys. Langston, let's jump in, man, with what this looks like for Carolina tomorrow. Terry and I were just opening the show, with what the expectations may be for fans. I want to look at it from a player perspective, but first, before we talk about the Gamecocks, I want you, as a defender, to put yourself where A&M is going to be tomorrow in terms of, okay, they think they're going to try something new. What does this mean for us? What are you first looking at? What are you most looking at, perhaps, as a defense tomorrow when it comes to Carolina attempting new things?
Well, I think some of the things that have been said out there, we know what's been kind of said about toughness and our offensive line, and they've been scouting and different things. But I'm sure the coach at a certain point during the week kind of said, "Here, let me show you a few clips of what certain players have said on the team, certain media people that said it about the team, about toughness, about certain things being consistent, and especially how they are built and who their coach is." The very first thing I would do if I was on the opposing side is test it. Meaning I test your toughness. I'm going to test all of those things, and that means just relentlessly getting off the ball at the beginning of the game and trying to set the tone that, yeah, that was cool. You guys had an extra week of preparation with your new little coach and all those different things like that. But we're just gonna run right over all of that and hopefully just have you looking at the sideline like, okay, now what's next? And they have to obviously have the players to do it. They got a defensive back with a moniker called the Blanket. I think that was a guy who also supposedly did or did not send some players some blankets to show them what he was doing. I think that was last year he did that. But yeah, they it all leads off with their number one dude, and his name is Cassius, not Patches, because I was thinking about this all week because I knew you guys were going to ask me this question. I was like, there's a song out there by Clarence Carter, and it's got to be called Cassius, but it was called Patches. But it very much sounds like a Texas A&M song about a guy who grew up on a farm. His daddy didn't have much. He went out there and had to save well, that's what Cassius has been doing for the Texas A&M, especially on the defensive side. And I don't know if anybody saw this a few weeks ago when they were in the rain and that man just looked like a maniacal animal. And I don't mean that in a pejorative way. Like, as a defensive guy, I was like, man, look at him talking that trash. And then he came out there and did it. So, one, that's what I would go out there and do if I was those guys on that side of the ball, especially if I was a coach. I would be priming them all week with those things, with that, and then hopefully see if that would kind of, as a coach used to say, the first 5 minutes of each quarter and the first 5 minutes of each half really dictate how the tempo of the game is going to go, especially the physical tempo of this game. And obviously, knowing Coach Elko and how they are and how they're prepared, I think that's what they're going to try to come out and do.
When you're a defensive lineman and you know your opponent has been amongst the worst at whatever level in terms of blocking, or and in this case, Carolina doesn't run well. Carolina is near the bottom in sacks allowed and pressures allowed. And yet they're trying something else. So I'm going to kind of piggyback off the last answer there. But what does that do to your mindset? Are you pinning your ears back and ready to go, or what does that feel like when you know that the opponent is just not getting it done?
Yeah, that's definitely where you're just kind of like brimming to get out there and see, is it as what it looks like on the film? Is it what I've been seeing? Because a lot of times there's been a lot of times where we played a Vanderbilt in the past. I'm talking about myself personally, where coaches have kind of downplayed those teams, and then you get out there and you're like, oh, these dudes are better than I thought. And it's not because we didn't have a good week of practice or whatever. It's just just for whatever reason, they were a lot better than what we saw on tape. And sometimes, you watch that same team the next week after they had played, you're like, oh, they're back to doing the same thing they did last week. What's going on? So the whole point is, when we're talking about it, looking at it from the opposite side of the deal, like I said, they've been successful all year just by imposing their will, playing lights out defense, very sound. Obviously, combining that with how they play on offense, not really turning the football over, all those different things. There's really no reason to change that. But I think that's an opportunity for South Carolina because, as you guys have been talking about, and I know you guys have been talking about on the other shows of, what's the tape going to look like? What have they been studying? And, of course, we had a week ahead to kind of, figure out what this game plan is going to be like specifically for this game right here. And, again, they were worried about Missouri last week. Now, they handled business and all that, but it all really comes down to trying to figure out how we can kind of maybe use some judo from the South Carolina side to use that against them. And that's, screen, draws, delays. They used to call it SDDs back in the day. I like to say we got to add an O to that. It's got to be options, draws, delays, and screens, especially with the guy that we have, whether it's be a quarterback option on the perimeter or some different things, some running back, quarterback options on the backside. But I think that's probably one of the biggest things we're going to have to weather in the storm is just the speed, the tempo, just these guys are brimming. They're the tops in the country for a reason, and they're playing at home. Even though I like to talk trash about that environment, there's a lot of guys, and they're really friendly out there. And I think it's reverse psychology how they try to get you at Texas A&M because they're all with that howdy and oh man, you guys are. I look good. I never trust that stuff, but it's an opportunity for them to really get on top of you, and it can overwhelm you very quickly.
All right, well, let's stay with that, talking to our good friend Langston Moore here on this Football Friday. All right, the Gamecocks. I don't know if you want to take it. I mean, forget about the scheme for a minute, which obviously is important, but I think we asked you this last week. Is having fun again. Does this move with Mike Furry calling plays now? And again, you don't celebrate someone's dismissal, but is there a way that this, in your opinion, infuses a little life and enthusiasm back into the Gamecocks? That maybe Shane is right. We're not that far off. Is this one of those things that allows them to get that much closer, scheme notwithstanding right now, but just a better mental approach?
Absolutely, and that's the benefit of being young and dumb. You don't realize how good you are sometimes, and you don't realize how bad you are sometimes, and that can change day to day. Messing with tweens and 20-year-olds is like stepping in the river. You're not getting in the river the same time every day. It's a different deal. It's a different flow every day, and so having a shot in the arm with enthusiasm, knowing Mike Fury, playing with him for a couple years when we were abysmal with the Detroit Lions. Mike was a two-way guy, so he's plenty of energy. He's always been kind of that dude, so I wouldn't expect anything less. And the kind of the things that we heard when he was up there at Limestone way back in the day before he went back off to the NFL and matriculated back to South Carolina. Mike has always been an enthusiastic guy. And, again, you couple that with Sean Elliott, and then, again, some of the things that I'm thinking about how, past performance at Limestone, I know he wasn't directly calling all the plays, but he had a hand in those things, and they had tremendous success, not just throwing the football, because you always want to look at it. What position did this person calling the plays used to play? Oh, they're a quarterback. They're probably going to be more centric that way. Mike did a lot of things to get the wide receivers involved, but when he was at Limestone and they had a record-setting offense, they also almost rushed for 200 yards a game. Now, again, I'm not saying that's going to happen just because we put Mike Furry with the big muscles in there. But again, if we just get a little bit of that, and I know we don't want to hear this as a fan base, and a lot of players haven't probably want to hear this, but they have been really, really close. And I have been in those meetings where you've just been losing games after losing games, and you're like, oh, man, we're right there. And that's where you have to hammer home, do what I tell you to do. Do what we coach you to do. Don't go out there and start wagging and making up stuff because, again, the Oklahoma game, everything we tried to do to give the game away, there was still an opportunity for us to come back there and win, minus the back end of the game. Same way with Missouri. Same way with the past kind of 3 or 4 weeks of what's been going on, all the way back to LSU on the road, all of those different things. There were ample opportunities with all the bad things going on, coaching, players, all of those different things. And so even though it might have not been pretty, if we just correct a things on the road, it can really launch us into figuring out how we can try to make a success out of this season, because I know obviously expectations aren't where they want to be, but being young and dumb, like I said, this can be a really good thing. And I think Mike Fury combined with Sean and the rest of those guys, and who Shane is, because I've been on teams before where the coach is kind of like a wet blanket, the head coach, but the new guy who's coming in to try to give us some light, and he's a raw guy. The coach can kind of quell some of that. So I think this might be maybe a perfect storm. 12 o'clock kickoff, which means it'll be 11 o'clock kickoff here because we're in Central Time. So I don't know. I like that. I like that in my opinion.
Lots more to do with Langston on this Football Friday. More on Carolina A&M. Get into a few thoughts around some of the big games in the conference and across the NFL. You are listening to the Postgame Show. Palmetto Propane has lots of ways to make your life a whole lot easier. They're a family-owned company. They've obviously been delivering propane to homes and businesses for more than 60 years across the state of South Carolina. Professional installation, exceptional service, outdoor fire features, premium gas logs for the indoors, Renai tankless water heaters, grills and accessories. And now their online payment and scheduling gives you access you need anytime, anywhere. And be thinking about this, too, as you look ahead. As I mentioned, the fireplaces. Listen, Thanksgiving's, 2 weeks away? Not even now? Christmas after that, and all the bowl games and the pro football playoffs you're watching. You got your friends and family around the fire. Palmetto Propane ready to help you upgrade that fireplace with propane or natural gas. Get into a Palmetto Propane hearth and patio home store showroom soon. See and feel these fireplaces and what it might be like to upgrade to a gas fireplace for many, many years to come. They've got them in Batesburg, West Columbia, Lexington, and in the Aiken-Augusta area. You can learn more at palmettopropane.com.
it's a football Friday on the game. Post-game show, Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, our good bud Langston Moore, hanging out with us. Barely can talk, hoarse. Man, you're a gamer, dude. Look at you.
It's all right. It's all right. That means I've been working all week, so, especially for my wife, I'm usually over here running my mouth and losing my voice. But we had a good week of office visits running here, there, everywhere, all over the state. So it's worth it. It's good. We had a good time.
And by the way, your wife's not going to be bummed when your voice just goes out and you can't talk anymore, right?
No, she'll be like, thank you. I don't have to listen to you anymore. I don't have to hear these stories.
Yeah, it might be good that I missed yesterday. I was talking to Terry off air and was hacking every other word that was coming out of my mouth. So I'm concerned about where I get about an hour from now. So we'll see. But I feel you, Langston. Let's jump back in a little bit more on Carolina before we branch into a few other things. This time, and I'll ask you something that we asked Ryan on Tuesday. You're in must-win mode. And Ryan said, Jay, you always think they're in must-win mode. I'm like, well, maybe not always, but close. But in this sense, you are literally, if you want a bowl game, you can't lose. What do you believe that does to Carolina's mentality? Or do they have to go into a game not thinking about that?
I definitely think they can't be thinking too far away, but they understand we can't do anything else and put a nice little ending to the season that we would like to have. And you always want to, play a game when everybody else is not playing, whether it's the Mayonnaise Bowl or Outback Bowl or the National Championship. You want to be one of the last few ones playing, especially when it comes to be holiday time, because I've been on the opposite side of that as a college athlete, and that's terrible. You might be like, yeah, I'm ready to go home, but no, mama's stuff ain't going to taste the same on Thanksgiving and Christmas as it will on 2 or 3 days later after you've had the bowl game and all the memories with your team. Because, when we all get together, those are the things you think about. But specifically how we get there, we got to still go through this big gauntlet that is everything that's waiting down there at College Station for us. So, the big thing with us is that, in this series, we've had a lot of opportunities to win games. I remember, being up a couple times down there at Texas A&M and not finish it. And I just remember a lot of field goals with Muschamp sometimes. And Kenny Trill, let's not bring that name up. I mean, he had the game of his life to never to be heard from again. I think he's playing at Kennesaw State or something like that. I'm joking. I think he's probably transferred about 4 or 5 times. But the only person to really garner these wins, and obviously going back to last year, has been Shane Beamer. And so, whatever we want to say, and I think this is the last time we're going to play these guys with the new realignment and all these different things for a while, for the foreseeable future. So, one, forget all the things that have come before. Let's just win this one to get that in the books so I can have trash talking abilities living out here with all these crazy folks in Texas. There was a bunch of Texas A&M folks on the plane this morning coming back to Dallas. But, I think Shane, and I keep reiterating this point, there always seems to be a point in the season, every year that Shane has been here, that there's a game that we win that we probably shouldn't have won. And then they go on to do some things, and that carries them on to do a lot of, maybe get a win later on in the season. We're thinking about the Tennessee game. I think about Zeb Nolan all the way back to damn near East Carolina, figuring all those things out to Jason Brown, all those different things. So, not saying we're going to pull out all the tricks and change and let everybody throw the ball, Luke Doty and all those different things. No, but I think we will try to figure out ways to gain an extra possession. We obviously know about Beamer ball hasn't been at his best for us for the last 4 or 5 weeks, so this will be a great time, more time than ever for us to go out there and get something, especially on the road. But we also have to know that their antennas are going to be up. But like I said, until I'm proven otherwise, I think it's a real great opportunity for Shane to kind of galvanize these dudes and do what he's been doing for the last couple of years. And the fact that he's the only guy with the wins against Texas A&M and South Carolina history, I'm going to just say, Shane, do your thing. Hopefully you can cook up something, brother.
Well, when you look at it from that perspective, too, how big is this change this time of year for Shane Beamer, and in terms of wanting to put his fingerprints on it, which we've seen him do, but this year, Langston, he's not just put his fingerprints on it, he's remolded the clay in terms of removing 2 assistant coaches. How much bigger does this stretch run get for him, in your opinion?
Oh, this is big for him because, this is kind of unseen territory for him. I mean, the coaches that have come and gone in the past, Shane didn't really have to fire those guys. There was an agreement on another side, and we just kind of said, okay, this guy goes here. Somebody else maybe went and find another job, another place. We leveled up and maybe got some other guys. We went from Atkins to getting Lonnie for a while, but Lonnie was already in the fold, so it was one of those deals where Greg was trying to figure out what he was wanting to do coaching wise. He's getting back to the end, but he was still been in the fold as well on the staff. So it's really. I'm interested to see it, and it also, makes for a lot of great storylines. Maybe that I know a lot of Gamecock fans don't want to hear, but this is what I want to see from the coaches. You can always want to see what the players are made of, right? And that's a really easy thing to see because you just roll the football out there. Hopefully, you see what they do when things get tough. Well, with this coaching staff, and specifically with Coach Beamer, there's a lot of firsts for him. He had to fire Lonnie. I know he didn't want to do that. I know he had to make some in-season adjustments with the offensive coordinator. He had to fire Mike, who's all those different things. But with all that being said, your job is to go ahead and lead this team with the best people possible. And sometimes that means kicking people off the bus, to use that analogy, and that means putting some people on the bus and having somebody else drive the bus for a while. And so I'm really interested to see how everybody responds. But all things, like I said, Shane has past performance being a future predictor. Shane has always figured out a way, regardless of what the stats have been, because it's been every year, regardless of what the roster has been. He's figured out a way to work that magic to get everybody on the same accord and get everybody bought in, fired up, ready to go, and they've won a game that they probably shouldn't have. And there's no better time for that Beamer magic to happen with everybody playing on par than to do it in Texas A&M Stadium on Saturday tomorrow.
That's a great point in terms of what they've done. So again, we've seen it. Can you see it again? I think that's what people are hoping for now.
Yep.
Speaking of fan bases out your way, Texas going to Athens last year. UGA beat them in Austin, beat them in Atlanta. Now it's Texas's turn. But is this Texas team as good as last year? What's the feeling from out your way about the Longhorns' opportunity tomorrow night over in Athens?
It's been very quiet all year out here in football season for Texas. I mean, there was a lot of hype preseason, of course, with Arch, but it's really been, the talk has been it's been Texas A&M all year. And again, like I said, I don't like their talk because it's been, oh, guys, we're just doing our best. They do their own little. I don't say I hate that fan base. I just really don't like those guys because it's like I can't really hate you because you're too nice. But no, the talk has been Texas A&M, and it's been really interesting because Texas, has an opportunity to go out there and you talk about Stark versus Kirby, offensive guy leading his team versus a defensive guy leading his team. All of those things. Of course, Arch Manning is still trying to figure out what he wants to be. I know Stark feels really culpable in that whole deal and him not being where he wants to be personally, and him as a coach not putting him in a position to make some of those certain plays. So I'm really interested to see how this one's going to turn out tomorrow, especially with Texas traveling to Georgia. It feels like it's kind of like one of those PlayStation games. We hadn't seen one of those in a minute. It's just like something y'all kind of like put together. You're like, oh, man, you're a Texas guy. We're going to play this on a game because you really don't get this simulation. And so, with the familiarity, Stark, all of the storylines of them being on the staff together, different things like that, I'm really interested. But the one thing that raised an antenna for me about Texas and Stark and everything not going the way they wanted to was just a couple weeks ago, there was a report that somebody was floated out a little deal that Stark might want to go to the NFL, but it had to be the certain team, and it had to be the small market. Don't send him to New York. You can't have that. No, don't do that. But Tennessee, with that quarterback, that's a really good quarterback, and they have some really good defensive pieces out there. Stark could go out there and fix out the offense. We heard that bantied out there, then we didn't hear it again. And then he did his Stark deal like he was getting ready to come out to. We all saw the clip where Stark was yelling at the infield guy producer trying to hold him back before they ran. He kind of got mad at everybody or somebody, his agent, and they've been quelling. They've quelled that. I think this weekend will be really telling to me if Texas loses this game, and especially if they lose it big. If those kind of rumors will start churning themselves up again, because that seems like something very Stark to do. It feels like something that is an easy exit for him because Again, Texas feels like they were expecting certain things. Stark wanted certain things, but they haven't been getting those things. Haven't been getting the results they wanted for whatever reason. That reason has been Georgia the last couple of years. But this will be an easy kind of mutual agreement, I think. Thing if things don't really go their way in Georgia, that might be an easy way for him to exit stage left out of Austin and just go up to Nashville because Austin, Nashville, it's all the same, brother. We just gonna be getting NFL money now. We just gonna get NFL money now.
More with Langston on the other side is the postgame show.
All right, we talk about Krager Showrooms, formerly the Nest, here all the time. And I know, yeah, Tara, you're supposed to talk about them. You know, they're work with you guys and blah, 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 blah. All right, I'm going to push all that out of the way that I like the people and I love the place. All right, just being objective. If I am looking to upgrade my home, whether it's new appliances, doing things in the kitchen, the bathroom, plumbing, fixtures, lighting, any of those things, I want experienced folks guiding me, helping me along, helping me get the best I can do for my budget, my taste, my vision. Experience matters. Over 7 years of experience at Krager Showrooms. 803-978-2025. Again, 803-978-2025. Call, go over, check out the phenomenal showroom, sit down with experts who can help guide you in the right direction to make you happy. Again, 803-978-2025. Krager Showrooms, formerly The Nest, on Gadsden in the Vista. Make that call. It's a Football Friday on the game. Postgame show, Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, our bud Langston Moore, as we wrap up our final segment with Langston. So you're saying, Langston, basically that because you and Sark have been doing a lot of drinking, that you think Sark's taking off to the NFL?
No, sir. You know, we've been going to meetings together. That's what we've been doing. You know? He goes for the liquid, I go for the solids. I go for the food. You know what I'm saying? I got a sugar habit. So, you know, we just go in there and I try to save my teeth and my blood pressure, and he goes in there and try to save it. But no, I again, the pressure, all these coaches, and again, just look around the college landscape, buyouts. God bless Brian Kelly. He's just trying to make an honest living. And they're trying to say he didn't show up to work. I just say look at the landscape, Stark, the pressure I can only imagine. And, you know, those folks down there in that burnt sienna orange or whatever they call it out there, they want results. And again, they got the quarterback, you got the facilities. We do the Ferrari deal with 20 Ferraris. The players get what they want. Every offensive lineman, good, bad, or indifferent, gets $100,000 in a cow. So where's the national championship at? And again, I don't think just playoffs is enough for that faction. Just like a la like LSU, a la like, you know, Penn State. Some of these folks. Now, some of them have to, you know, check themselves up and think about, you know, what exactly do you think? Who do you think you are, and what do you expect? But I already know the answer to that. When I pay a X amount of dollars, I expect a certain amount of deal. So if I want a steak and I pay $10, I only expect to get a certain type of deal. You know, we can go to Waffle House and get the best they got. But if you asking me to pay $100 per ounce on some like Wagyu beef stuff, it better be real Wagyu beef. You know, and I think that's what the Texas folks are worried about. And you know, again, results, money. I just think it'll be a very convenient thing, but always the question is, just like in the real estate market today, yeah, the prices are high, and if you can find somebody to give you one of those cash offers and the hedge fund guys are buying up your neighborhood, that's cool. The prices run up. You got the money. But now where are you going to go live at? And I think that's one of the things with Texas. Be careful. If you figure out a way to kind of push them out, if this happens, who's going to come in there and do that? Who's going to come in there and get that deal? And that's always my question.
Langston is with us. Of course, visit athletesandartists.net to get all the Just a Chicken book information. Just a Chicken Little. Used to was a rooster. The swag. And Langston mentioned his voice is given out because he and Coach P, Preston Thorne, have been speaking all week across the state of South Carolina. But if you want to get them into a school or other speaking engagement near you, you can also check that out at athletesandartists.net. See the work of the great, elusive Kev Roche. And so much more. Plus the Butt and Gut podcast, the Fight podcast, all at athletesandartists.net. How offended should my Denver Broncos be that they are home dogs to a team on which they have a 2-game lead right now?
I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago where you guys were on the road. You're like, man, they got us. I think it's just one of those Vegas. Okay, you can try to think you know something that you don't know, but until proven otherwise, I think Sean Payton has his guy. Bo Nix feels like he's in sync and he's seeing everything just like him. I think the injury bug is trying to creep in there a little bit for y'all, but even with you guys being at 100% specifically on defense, you have more than enough to go out there and handle business. But like you said, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. And this, I feel like we all went through this a couple years ago when they were down. We were trying to figure out where they were at, and they went out there and they won the Super Bowl because they had that guy number 15. So it's not 87. It's not Taylor Swift. As long as 15 shows up with that nice little temper fade and he's ready to play, I'll still be worried. So maybe Vegas is on to something. Maybe it's one of those things where, you know, is it true? Is it not true? That's why you don't gamble, man. You just kind of watch for fun, Jay. Don't put the money. Don't bet the house on this one, Terry. Don't do it.
Well, I'm just going to call my buddy Damon Jones and get some inside info.
Yeah, see how that works out.
He's only good. He's only good for basketball. He only knows basketball. Right. We got to find somebody who knows LeBron. He knows LeBron James. We got to find somebody who knows Patty Mahomes.
He is Langston Moore. Again, athletesandartists.net. You can also follow Langston on Twitter if you don't already. Remove the chains, the way to do that. Thank you, sir. As always, we'll holler at you again here real soon. Enjoy the weekend. And, hey, pulling for your Lions, man. That's a big game in Philly. So we'll see what happens with that one, too. That's Langston Moore. Appreciate his time. Good stuff, sir. Thank you. Lots more to do in hour number 2. We'll have some sound from Coach Beamer. We'll take an early drive around the SEC. Couple of interesting games that are there. Not a great weekend minus the Georgia game, but there's a couple of good ones, and the Bama game is obviously a big one too. So we'll get into all that and a whole lot more. Hour 2 of the postgame show coming up. Been great to tell you about U.S. Brick, Mikey Johnson and his team, a leading American-owned brick manufacturer, building materials supplier. They've got their headquarters right here in Columbia, where they've been coming close to a century, about 90 years. They've also got plants now in Alabama, Tennessee, and Indiana. Here in Columbia, they produce residential, commercial, and authentic tumbled brick. If you want that really cool, old, like colonial style look with brand new bricks, Tumbled Brick could be for you. And the new Exterior Design Center downtown at 300 UG Street can showcase all of their collections, plus a big range of complementary materials and outdoor living solutions. And check out that amazing fireplace and pergola they have built right outside the showroom there. The space features dedicated workspace. You can bring your plans, bring your contractor, your designer, 300 UG Street, and learn more at usbrick.com.
Yeah, I feel really good about the how they've handled everything. A lot has certainly happened in the last 2 weeks, and proud of our players for the way they've handled it and responded. Players, coaches, staff. Bye week certainly came at a good time. We needed it for a lot of reasons. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and it was a good break. Got some good work in last week. Was able to get out on the road and do a little bit of recruiting at the end of the week. And then our players had the weekend off and got back in here on Sunday. But certainly you feel a new spirit, new energy, new excitement. That not that we didn't have it before, but as we go into the last 3 games coming off a bye week, they're rested and healthy and excited about attacking these next 3 weeks.
Guys, get ready for the Aggies. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Excitement, Terry. We heard that that word just now. I still, others may feel differently, and that's fine. I feel like that is as big a part of this as anything.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've talked to Ryan Brewer, we talked to Preston and guys like that played back for Lou, and remember, losing and going to a bye week was like a death march with Lou, right? Remember, they were like, we always wanted to win going into the bye. But this one's kind of weird, Jay. I mean, yeah, you lost, but obviously you made a change in offensive coordinator, and that extra week helps you ramp up the new guy, right? And it almost kind of helps you flush, right? And let's get some new enthusiasm and excitement, and let's move forward with, a new voice leading the offense, and, and maybe even though you did come off a loss, maybe like you've been talking about earlier, maybe we get some happiness and joy going now because maybe you get some confidence by changing some stuff up. You can get this thing back in the right direction.
Let's hear more from Coach on that note. Cut number 11, please, sir. Shane, last night with Todd on, and again, look, we're not going to get detail in this answer, but what are the things they can change this late in the season with these adjustments?
No, absolutely. I think we always want to have the things that we do really well that we know we can execute against anything, and teams have to deal with that each week, and that's just every week that's these passing concepts or these running plays are going to be in the game plan. And it's the same thing defensively. I mean, we do what we do on first and second down. We don't really change. We have some tweaks from week to week, but certainly on the offense, there's certain things, passes that I know that we're going to have every week in the plan, runs that we're going to have every week in the plan. We try and do a great job of plays off of plays. Okay, we ran this a lot the week before, so next week we're going to run this, but we're going to do this instead. Or we've done it out of this formation. We need to do the same thing, but we're going to do it out of a different formation. And then you can certainly add. We probably haven't. We probably added a little bit more this week than we have in previous weeks, just in regards to new concepts, new schemes, particularly in the passing game. But we kind of are who we are, but like we always do, it's figuring out each week what gives our personnel the best chance to go be successful, and that's what we put in the plan.
Yeah, again, no details in there, Terry, but I said this to you right at the beginning of the show. I'm curious as to exactly how much different this offense it really can look. Maybe you can install a lot of new, especially because you do it in a bye week setting where there is more time. But I think we also heard him stress in there the plays that we know we like. And we've seen those. Again, I think that's one of the big questions, right? Why didn't we see more of the things that you did well? And maybe Mike Shula thought, the defense has seen that when we got to do something else. And maybe a lot of play callers do feel that way. Whereas, I make the joke a lot about the old Nebraska, and I'm not trying to compare Carolina to the 80s and 90s Nebraska teams. I promise I'm not doing that. But, hey, they can't stop this play. We're going to keep running it. Where is that? Where is that meeting in the middle for this Gamecock offense? And is that more than anything, perhaps, what can be done most differently, in addition to some new energy? But in terms of the schematics, is it simply, hey, let's keep running those plays we're confident in and until they stop it?
Yeah, everyone here and you too have talked about how that's what the ball coach would do. Spurrier, okay, you can't stop that play. We'll run it 10 straight times until you finally stop it. Kyle Shanahan does that in the NFL with the 49ers. Keep running it until they actually stop it. And sometimes I think you overthink, right? Because That's human nature. Everybody does it. And, maybe with Mike Shula, and Ryan Brewer brought this up, that, he might run a play and it works really well, but Mike Shula, you ask Mike Shula, why didn't you run it again? He goes, well, we got that play. We ran it because we got a specific look and specific coverage and all these other things, right? Then you just look at him and go, okay, why didn't you run again? Well, I didn't get that look again. So what? It worked. Run it again. I think that sometimes, because these guys, look, these guys have forgot more football than dopes like us know. But sometimes when you know less, sometimes you see it clearer than when you know so much. Your brain gets clogged with all the stuff you know, and you can't see what's right in front of you, like my analogy on my girlfriend, the phone in her bra, right? So I just really believe that sometimes you overcomplicate it in your head because sometimes maybe you know too much for your own good, right?
Yeah. Here's one more from Shay. Let's do, Terry, let's do number 8 because I think this may be what fans are most curious about. What does Shane see in terms of the relationship with Lenoris Sellers and how Mike Furry is going to be calling things tomorrow?
No, we've had a lot of conversations. We always do, but, especially since the Ole Miss game and some of the changes on offense. But I think he's had 2 really good weeks of practice, and I'm excited to watch him on Saturday. He's handled it like the mature young man that he is, and it's our job as coaches to continue to, make him more comfortable and get him operating even more efficiently. And you're right, that game last year, he was a stud in that game last season, just with his ability to run, scramble, get out of some sacks. There's one on the first drive where they, hit him square in the backfield, and he just, like he always does, makes the guy bounce off of him. But he's excited, but we've got to be great around him, players and coaches, and he knows he needs to be better. But really like the progress that he's made since the Ole Miss game to now.
Again, Terry, I wish I could sit here and say more other than I just have a rhetorical question, at least rhetorical until they play tomorrow. What does that look like? What does Lenoris feel is different for him, better for him? And how does you just – I think we've all agreed in varying ways and degrees that – and we can all see it. Lenoris has not had the same kind of season. He just simply has not. But has this offense, at least until now, really been able to take advantage of who and what Lenoris is? And it feels like the general consensus for most is no, they haven't. Whether it's been things I've said before, like he was making bad plays for good reasons, in terms of taking some sacks where he wanted to just make those progressions, relative to not having the time to confidently and accurately make those reads, and then not having a play call package that's designed, as you've been pointing out, to get the ball out quicker. Right? Again, what do these things look like tomorrow, and what do they look like tomorrow against one of the premier defenses in the country? I'm not saying Carolina's going to go out there and get their doors blown off. There is a reason, at least from a Vegas perspective, that they're such heavy underdogs. But what does this look and feel like tomorrow? I'm curious because I think they all know, and you pointed it out. They got to know. All right, there's a reason we made a change.
Right.
What are you going to do differently? What's different? That's my question. Right? What's really going to be different?
Yeah, I guess my thing again. Shane won't let us into the meetings, which got so rude. But anyway, I mean, we've asked nice. Here's the thing. I think, and it's like in any. Forget this is high-level SEC football. Anything in life, right? When the tornado has hit you, right, and it's knocked you over and everything's going to, like my aunt will say, hail in a handbasket, whatever that means, don't you just sometimes just start at the simplest point and then rebuild?
Yeah.
I mean, anything in life. Like, just right now, I couldn't find my phone. I started at the simplest point because, it starts off I'm an idiot. So we'll start there. But here's the thing. How about, and maybe they've done it all the time, it's just for some reason it hasn't worked. At this 2 weeks, just go, okay, what do we do well? Let's start with the offensive line. This whole thing starts with the O-line, right, Jay?
Yeah.
What does our offensive line do well? What do they block well? What is the skill set of every starter? What do? They pull well? Do they just fire off and power block well? Do they do this? Can they get to the second level well? What do these guys all do well? Okay, how can we incorporate that in what we've got in the playbook and the game plan? Let's just start there. Okay, Lenoris. What does he do well? Let's go watch all the tape of Lenoris from last year. Let's all just start from ground zero in these 2 weeks, and let's brick by brick or bird by bird, I've heard that one too, let's start there, and let's just start to slowly rework this thing to where we're doing things these players can do. What's their strengths? What does Lenoris like to do? I just think, Jay, start at ground zero, man. I know it's late in the year, but what the hell do you have to lose at this point?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, nothing. You're in must-win mode, but you're also in nothing-to-lose mode. In that perspective, at least I can play both sides of that. I mean, you do have things to lose, but and I'm with you, man. But does that mean more designed runs? Is that going to catch A&M off guard? Probably not. Do we go back to the joke that we had with Ryan at the beginning of the year, Ryan Brewer, where hey, I just want it like last year, and Ryan was like, so you want plays to break down? Well, no, but it worked a lot. Like I don't want that, but I don't want it to get sacked either. So,
right.
Again, what? But I think you have hit on maybe what could be the biggest wrinkle here, and that is short and intermediate routes coupled with the deep ball routes, and that they're all there at the same time. I think that more than anything else may be what you've got to utilize, where the ball, because Terry, you ask a question, what does the line do well? I don't want to be too much of a smart aleck here, but
know.
I mean, the statistics through 9 games tell you very little.
You know what's funny? As I'm saying that, I'm thinking. And I don't mean
very. I don't mean that the statistics tell you very little about what they can or can't do. I mean, the statistics tell you they can't do much.
Right, and I was thinking that too when I was saying it. You know what, too? A fan would say this right now when we're hearing Shane say, well, we're not going to change too much of this or that. If you're a smart aleck fan, you're like, why aren't you? Because none of it's working. I mean, that's how this offense has gotten to everyone, right? I mean, everyone's looked at it like, well, whatever you're doing, I got a great idea. Just do the opposite. Go ahead, do the opposite of what you've been doing.
Pull a George Costanza at the diner, right?
Right, exactly.
There you go.
Hey, did it work good for George? Did it work good for George?
It did for about half the episode.
Yes.
Until it didn't. But that's the story of George Costanza. All right, we'll come back on the other side. We'll get Shane's take on A&M and a few other things that he's looking at in terms of tomorrow's game. And we'll get into a few thoughts around the SEC. Again, drive around the SEC coming up inside of 20 minutes. It is the Football Friday postgame show.
Football Friday here on the Game post-game show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford hanging out with you. Listening to some Shane Beamer from Carolina Calls last night over at Backstreets. So I got a pretty good crowd there. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a fun place. Fun place.
Yeah, David Dare said he was heading over there. So, I mean, obviously, it would have been overrun by the ladies.
No comment.
I mean, he's changed his look. I mean, you haven't been here in a minute. I'm just saying this. Dave changed his look. He looks about 20 years younger. He looks like he's probably about 62 now. I'm kidding.
No comment.
I'm kidding.
Love you, Dave.
He did order a bunch of clothes from Amazon because he's lost so much weight. He's got a cool new wardrobe.
All right.
Just saying, man. He's got hipster clothes now, like hipsters wear.
Clothes from Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
My dad used to get. Do you remember that Finger Hut catalog?
I do.
Yeah, my dad wore Finger Hut clothes.
Okay.
Yeah, just saying.
Well, I think that's a lot of what they do.
No, those
I got
are
no problem.
Jay, those are the ugliest clothes ever.
Okay. I don't recall ordering anything from them. I feel like my grandparents got that catalog.
Yeah, I don't think they sent it to you if you were under 50.
Okay.
You didn't get that catalog.
I do get some things from time to time from Land's End, which I like. LL Bean.
But here's
catalog.
my question: are you getting the AARP stuff yet?
No. But I guess I'm technically eligible.
Yeah, I got buddies who get that. I have not got. They haven't found me yet, but I got buddies of mine who are getting that stuff.
I actually saw. You know what? I saw this once because we have a friend who lives he actually lives in Annapolis, but he works in Washington, so he commutes a couple days a week. But he used to be in the political wing of AARP. Now he's about this was years ago. You actually can join AARP whenever you want to. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. I think maybe you got to be 18, but I don't think there's any age restriction about joining AARP. And maybe they've changed that, but I remember him saying you don't have to be, 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
To join AARP.
My buddy said to me because they found him and started sending him stuff. I mean, eventually they'll find us. And he said, and so I was kidding with him about it. He goes, dude, they got some great deals. And he's starting to rattle off, I got 50% off my car insurance. I got 50% off this and that. He's like, man, I'm telling you, it's
50%
good.
50% off car insurance. Hell, I'll take that right now.
I was going to say, I'll join anything. Yeah, he's been getting a lot of deals, so it might not be bad. I might have to go I might have to go track them down and say, hey, hook me up.
Before we hear more from Shane, let's Jackson Calloway joined the guys on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. He works for Aggie Yell. That's the On3 site that covers A&M football. Can we get number 2, Terry? Because I think we've talked a lot about the Gamecock offense, and we know the Gamecock defense has been playing well, but Jackson goes a little over a minute here on just how good this A&M offense has been.
Yeah, so even looking back to last year, I think South Carolina fans know more than anybody that last year A&M didn't really have the weapons to compete after Le'Veon Moss went down. And you saw that it was a really good Gamecock defense that just completely locked down that unit for the rest of the game once Moss went down. This year it's a lot different. They brought back all their offensive line starters. Early on there were a lot of penalty issues, but those have since been cleaned up. Marcel Reed has kind of transformed into a much better quarterback, somebody who is more aware of what's happening, and he can really get the ball downfield, whether it's with his arm or have his playmakers do it for him. And the depth that they have at wide receiver now. We talked about Casey and Mario, who are two of the nation's best receivers. But I think when you look at Terry Bussey, Ashton Bethel-Roman, there's a lot of guys that can make plays. And if you look at the tight end room is much better than it was last year. I think there's a solid identity there. You didn't have a pure blocker. I think that you may have one of the highest graded tight end blockers in the country, Nate Borkheischer. And then the running back room, Le'Veon Moss is out, but they still have the depth there to compete. I think Reuben Owens is a really solid back. And so A&M's really been able to use all this versatility, and they have a lot of breakaway speed at all these positions that they didn't have last season, a year ago. So I think with A&M, the identity has been being able to get Marcel Reed, get it to the playmakers in space, and then allow him to kind of fill the holes with his feet or have the running backs kind of pick up that load.
All right, I think Jackson nailed it there, Terry. This so many veteran players back, and they've remained relatively healthy. But watching this team, A&M, I'm talking about, the last couple of weeks has been impressive. The LSU and Missouri games, I don't want to say they're scoring at will, but LSU and Missouri have good defenses.
Mm-hmm.
A&M went to both of their houses and really asserted themselves early and often. And you pointed out the one dud game they had, and they're undefeated, so they clearly won it, was the Auburn game in College Station. I said last week, Carolina fans need to hope that A&M goes to Columbia, Missouri, and wins comfortably. They did.
Mm-hmm.
Now Carolina fans need to hope that A&M looks at South Carolina, I guess, the way they looked at Auburn, but that game was a long time ago compared to how this team's playing football now.
Yeah, and another thing we haven't really given credit is Colin Klein, the offensive coordinator at A&M, has done a great job. I mean, you want to talk about putting your quarterback in the position to succeed and building your offense around his strengths. Look at Marcel Reed this year. I know he's more experienced than last year. Remember, he got experience, and, coming with getting experiences, the good days and the bad days. But Marcel Reed this year, you watch him, and it seems like he's almost making the right decision every time with the ball, whether it's an RPO, where he's going to go with the ball in the passing game, when to keep it and take off. And he's the igniter, Jay. And Colin Klein has done a wonderful job as an OC building that offense around what Klein can do. And look, they did a really good job of surrounding Marcel Reed with weapons. Casey Concepcion, he's got some drop issues, but when you put the ball in Casey Concepcion's hands, it could be a touchdown every time. He's that good. And Craver's been better as a receiver than Concepcion. They're tough to stop, dude. They just really are. So, I mean, we'll see what South Carolina can do defensively to combat it. Because, and that offensive line, look, we talked about yesterday, A&M, the right side of the offensive line is the run blocking side. A&M, a lot of their success in the run game goes on the right. They're better on the left side with pass protection. But the right side's where they struggle in pass protection compared to the left side. So what all that means and how Clayton White attacks them, we'll see. Sometimes you say, look, we're going to line up with our best guys, and our best guys are going to beat your best guys. We're going to do 1 versus 1, and we think we can win. Well, sometimes maybe you start moving Dylan Stewart around the formation a little bit and put him in some mismatch opportunities. Maybe you start doing something like that to unleash Dylan Stewart. I mean, Stewart's been solid this year, not as good as he was last year, but he's been solid. Teams have been taking him away, whether it's doubling him, tripling him, chipping him, whatever the case. Teams aren't letting Dylan Stewart beat him. Because they're trying not to. So we'll see how South Carolina's defense tries to handle this offense that is just, besides the Auburn game, they've scored at least 30 points in every contest all year. There's something else, man. All right, we'll jump back in here on the postgame show. Terry Ford, Jay Phillips. We will get a drive around the SEC, check the league and what's going on Saturday around the SEC and college football. That's next on the postgame show. CHW Cabinetry, Star and her folks. If you need cabinets, again, we always talk about experience and know-how and knowledge and customer service. Well, CHW Cabinetry, they check all those boxes. You can go on there, look, you go to the website at chwcabinetry.com and look at their work, whether it's in the kitchen, the dining room, heck, closets, upstairs, downstairs, inside, outside. They will take care of you and get the cabinets that you're looking for in the style you want in the budget you can spend. You just call 803-520-6837. Give them a ring. Go sit down with the folks at CHW Cabinetry. Let them know what you want to do, what your goals are, what your budget is, and they will make it happen for you. 803-520-6837. CHW Cabinetry. Give them a call. Go in, see what they can do. Photorealistic renderings will take you from beginning to end. So make that call at CHW Cabinetry. All right, our first check on the afternoon traffic. Couple accidents. Augusta Road between Ermine and Watling Road. Also East Boundary Road at Percival. Forest Drive near Highway 12. I-77 northbound at US 21. That'll be exit 24. In West Columbia, Meeting Street at 12th Street. And then back in Columbia, O'Neill Court between Two Notch and Park Lane Road. Coming back, we're going to drive around the SEC, an early version, because we've got the Wild Card Showdown at 5:30. That's coming up later on, but drive around the SEC. The two big games we'll investigate. Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas. That's next here on the Postgame Show. Oh, time to get to our drive around the SEC here on the Postgame Show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford. Couple big games we're going to focus on. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma. Where do you want to start first there, man?
Well, let's start with the Bama game because I think the showcase game is the one in Athens tomorrow night. But this Bama Oklahoma game is certainly huge. I think, look, Bama's undefeated in conference play. An Oklahoma win could really upset the balance of what's going on down the stretch in these final few ball games. Last year Bama laid an egg in this one, and we know that Oklahoma was not nearly as good last year as they are this year. But we've seen Oklahoma get a lot better, Terry, in the last month. I mean, dominated South Carolina here in Columbia, had a really good win in Knoxville, and I think they are now, kind of feeling themselves and thinking this is why we're here. I mean, it is interesting that, and there was an article about it today, the new SEC versus the old. You've got Texas and OU coming in for big games at Tuscaloosa and Athens this weekend, and each of these games has some big meaning. Let's go to number 18 first here. Brent Venables visiting Tuscaloosa tomorrow, but he talks about how big it was to beat Alabama in year one of their conference membership.
I mean, I don't know direction of the program or not. It was a great moment. I look at them all that way. They all matter. But, for our guys, I think it was a sign when we get out of our own way, take care of the football, run it efficiently, create explosives in the run game, making good decisions offensively, complementing each other on both sides of the ball in the kicking game. We're on the plus side of the margin. We scored on defense, created some short fields for the offense, and just played really good, clean, complementary, fundamentally sound physical football.
And, again, just like with Ole Miss, that was a game that Bama I'm talking about Ole Miss and Kentucky, Terry, but that's a game Bama wants back because they just really didn't show up that particular afternoon. Of course, they had a rough year last year in their own mind. Before we comment further, this is basically the reverse of what Brent Venables just talked about. Kalen DeBoer on how much it hurt when they lost to the Sooners last year.
We have a lot of new players on the team, so there are players that didn't experience that. The ones that did certainly better remember and understand that, more importantly, that you're facing a really good program that, obviously we went to their place and got beat up pretty good last year, and that's who's coming to town this week. And so, Coach Venables done an amazing job instilling a culture there. And, we got a team that is coming here hungry.
I don't know what to expect tomorrow. I expect Alabama to win, Terry.
Yep.
So I'll say that much. I don't know what this game's going to look like when I say in terms of what do I expect. Could this be – I'm almost more inclined to think that this game doesn't get out of the 20s than I think this game turns into some kind of shootout. I don't know if these teams I think they can both play really good defense, and I expect that tomorrow as much as anything else. But I don't know which direction this thing ultimately heads.
It's interesting because, I was reading Billy Connolly's piece in ESPN today about this game, and Alabama, their offensive numbers against top 30 defenses nowhere near as good than against defenses outside the top 30. And we saw the South Carolina defense slow down Bama for a good portion here in Columbia.
Yeah. Well, Bama doesn't run well.
No, and they don't, and they're not the most physical crew. They build their stuff off offensively on skill and scheme more than physicality. And look, Oklahoma's defense statistically is better than South Carolina's. So if South Carolina can slow them down, Oklahoma should be able to slow them down as well. That just turns into a football game then, Jay, because Oklahoma can't run the ball either, even though they've been better lately. But still, that's why I agree with you. Take the under, because I think it's going to be a game in the 20s. Now, do I think Bama wins? Yes, I do. But I think Oklahoma is going to be there in the fourth quarter.
I do, too. I think there's every reason to believe that, especially, again, the way they've been defending. And, Brent might just have a little bit something up his sleeve to go in there tomorrow and say, we really do belong in this conference. So we'll see. That's tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night in Athens, Texas, and Georgia. Last year they played twice. Georgia won twice. Neither one of those games was in Athens. Is this another shot at revenge, perhaps? Cut 16, please, Terry. Here's Steve Sarkisian on what he believes it will take for his guys to go to Sanford Stadium and win.
Oh, wait a minute. The future coach of the Titans, Steve Sarkisian? Is that where
Maybe.
play that one?
Maybe.
Here we go.
It's going to take 60 minutes, and it's going to take all three phases. This can't be a one-dimensional game for us. We're going to need all three phases to play well. They've got a very balanced offensive attack. I think Gunnar Stockton has done a fantastic job of running that offense and creating explosive plays with his arms, with his legs. They're running the football effectively. Defensively, you're seeing them grow up week in and week out. Very physical front. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of new names, but they all look very similar. So they've got a very talented football team. It's going to be a great challenge, and we're looking forward to it.
So there you go. A lot of coach speak in there, Ter. All three phases, 60 minutes. You praise the other guy's quarterback. Texas has won 4 straight. Alabama's the only team to beat Georgia. And remember, Alabama didn't score in the second half of that game. And that was in Athens. Georgia is better, but how much better? And is Texas really prepared to win a game like this? I'm not sure. In this one, I do have more of an idea of what to expect because I think Georgia stepped it up a notch last week. I know it was in Starkville, but I also know that in Starkville a few weeks prior, Tennessee went to overtime. State is not terrible, and that 20-point margin, the game was not that close. Right. So I expect Georgia to win.
Yeah, I think Georgia. No, you're fine, man. I think Georgia wins as well. But I saw, again, I'm going to give Billy Connolly props on this. He had a very interesting stat that could be something to watch in this game. Texas, starting a couple weeks ago, had started getting the ball out of Arch Manning's hands quick, little short passes, wide receivers with yak yards and things of that nature. And the last 2 weeks, Arch Manning's numbers have been really good. And so here's the weakness of the Georgia defense, that short pass. Get the ball out quick, throw the ball either at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, maybe 5 yards over the line of scrimmage, and let the wide receivers go yak. That has been something Georgia's had a tough time stopping this year. So if Texas does that and it's successful like it has been the last 2 weeks, maybe they hang around and make it a football game. But I'm with you. I think Georgia wins. They're at home. I think they're the better team. And by the way, the fourth quarter Georgia this year has been stupid. They have been stupid in the fourth quarter all year.
And I just wonder if Texas can do what some of the teams that have pushed Georgia the hardest can do, and that is score a lot of points in the first half. Or has Kirby begun to fix some of that defensively? I think where this game is at halftime is going to tell us a lot.
Yeah, and Texas is another team that can't run the ball that well. Their offensive lines had trouble. So, again, Georgia right now, it might not be filled with a bunch of old dudes who are going to the NFL in the draft, but they got a bunch of young dudes who are really good, and they're just learning. So if I'm Texas, I don't want the ball in Arch Manning's hands too long, just saying.
I agree. Before we get out of here, State will be at Missouri tomorrow. Arkansas at LSU in a game that means something to somebody.
Ready? Who can win a game, Jay? That's what it is. Neither one of them can win a game.
And Florida will be at Mississippi, where the speculation this week, of course, is centered all around Lane Kiffin and his decision on whether he wants to remain in Oxford, entertain the Florida job, entertain the Penn State job, entertain the LSU job, entertain the Titans job, entertain the Giants job. I know this much, Terry. He will be entertaining massive offers from a lot of organizations, and he's going to make a lot more money. I still think he stays in Oxford, but does he put a little hurting on Florida just to sweeten the pot?
Well, I heard that Doug Christie, the Sacramento Kings head coach, is on the hot seat, and the word is that if they do fire him, they're going to go after Kiffin. Just saying. Saying, man.
Why not at this point? I mean, Lane can do no wrong. All right, that's our drive around the SEC brought to you by Herndon Chevy. We'll come back on the other side. Terry has a little J or nay. That's next on the Postgame Show.
All right, so you're a guy and you just don't feel as much of a guy as you used to be, and you're all worried about it, and you're concerned. You won't talk to anybody because we're guys and we don't talk to anybody about anything. But it might just be low testosterone. It could be that easy, that simple. There's one way to find out. You go to the men's clinic in South Carolina. You give Dr. Dan and the staff a call. You say, look, I want to come in, do a consultation. It's free. It's confidential. You go in, you tell them your story. Why you're not sleeping, or maybe why you don't feel as strong at the gym, or you're not bouncing back from workouts as well, or you can't remember anything like you used to, or you have a lack of drive, whether it's a living room, bedroom, office, in your car, whatever. And it might just be low testosterone. If they think it could be low T, they'll do lab work. If it comes back low testosterone, they'll put you then on a program that is specifically designed for you to get you back to being you again. Make the call. It could just be low T. Find out. Call the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, 803-875-MENS. All right, get some Jay Renee here in a minute. Postgame show sponsored by our buds at U.S. Brick. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford. I got some good Jay Renee here for you.
All right.
And it's really more, what do you think, more than Jay Renee.
Okay.
All right, again, I'm going back to my buddy Billy Connolly's post. I should get a royalty percentage for saying Billy Connolly.
You do. Hey, before you do this, though, can I ask, are any of these questions about last night's most valuable player awards in the major leagues?
Nah, we'll get that top of the hour. I figure I was saving your riff for the 5 o'clock news for that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, you're fired up on that, so we're going to get to it at 5.
A little bit. A little bit.
I mean, you were spitting and yelling on the phone to me today. I had to move it to my other ear, and my ear hurt for like a half an hour. You were a little out of control.
That's true.
We needed medicated Jay. He was a little crazy.
Well, that's what happens when I'm not at work for a couple days.
You just got to get it out. All right, here. Oh, we need music. Hold on. This is not the same without a little game show here. Let's get it in there. Let's go. Feel good now. I'm Bob Barker. Spay and neuter your pets. All right, anyway. All right, here we go. According to Billy Connolly, we have group of 5 teams that are playing their double-digit favorites this Saturday. But according to the analytic computer of Billy Connolly, there's only a 45% chance they'll all win. So we're going to go through Jay or nay. Who wins and who loses in these games.
All right.
Number 24, South Florida, who would be in the college football playoff if it started today. They're at Navy. The midshipmen, I think, have only lost one conference game.
Yeah, they both, I think, only have one conference loss. And this is actually a game, I believe, that's on, it's on the Wild Card Showdown.
Who survives?
I don't know why South Florida is such a heavy favorite. I mean, maybe they are that much better than Navy, and there are some who believe South Florida is the best G5 team out there, but they are big, nearly 10-point favorites at Navy. Now, I think Navy's quarterback is a little banged up, and he's pretty good. So
he's good.
That could have a little bit to do with this, but South Florida wins this game probably. Right. So,
Okay.
Was that the question, by the way?
I'll do a little Jay or nay. Jay or nay, does South Florida survive Navy? Let's do it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, J, but I maybe closer than the spread would indicate.
All right, Florida Atlantic is at Tulane. Tulane's only got one loss, but Florida Atlantic, they're nuts. They play a fast tempo. They go for it on every fourth down. They're kooky. They will travel to a Tulane team that's suffering defensively these days. Jay or Nate, does Tulane survive against Florida Atlantic at home?
You know, this is an interesting one because I think John Sumrall, for all the talk of John Sumrall as the hottest coach, maybe some of that shine is rubbing off a little bit. But Jay, Tulane will survive this. They almost because they have to, right? The old Tony Barnhart. They have to.
Right. All right, North Texas, who's got one loss, travels to UAB, who has an interim head coach. Remember, UAB shocked Memphis a couple of weeks ago. Does North Texas survive against UAB?
Jay, I don't even think this was. I mean, UAB had the one moment under Coach Mortensen. North Texas is good. I don't see it for the Blazers.
All right, the next one.
Give me the green.
James Madison, who a lot of folks think by their resume should be the Group of 5 team right now for the college football playoff out of the Sun Belt. JMU is hosting the Fighting Loggins out of Appalachian State. Appalachian State was 4-2. They've kind of hit the skids. James Madison's playing really well. Jay or nay, James Madison survives.
Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, and they may do so comfortably. I love Dowell and what he's all about, but I think James Madison has statements to make, Terry. So, yeah.
Okay, we got a superfecta. Michigan, Utah, Miami, Ole Miss, all in the college football playoff hunt. All are heavy favorites. There's only a 45% chance they all win. So real quick, let's see if we can get through, and maybe you can pick the loser out of the group. Oregon hosts Minnesota. Jay or nay, Oregon survives.
Jay.
Yeah, Minnesota hadn't won a road game all year. All right. Jay or nay, Indiana at home survives against Wisconsin.
Jay.
All right. Jay or nay.
Although Wisconsin finally got a win at least, so there's that.
Makes them feel good. Jay or nay. Jay or nay, you with me now?
Yeah.
Cincinnati will survive against Arizona.
I like this one. I don't know why I feel like Arizona's going to pull an upset, man. So I'll just stick with my gut. Nay, I think Arizona. I don't something.
Okay.
When I was looking at that game earlier today, I was like, I think Arizona might win that.
All righty. All right, here we go. Does Michigan survive against Northwestern, Jay or nay?
Well, they better. This is not the Northwestern of a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jay, they will.
Does Utah survive against Baylor, Jay or nay? Baylor can't stop a nosebleed.
No, Baylor's a hot mess of football and administration, and I don't know what's going on. Waco's about to have another meltdown, man. So no, Baylor doesn't get it done.
Miami loses to NC State, Jay or nay? Do they survive the hurricane?
Man, you know what, Terry? Nay. NC State's going to win that game.
Hey, NC State can score some points, man.
Yeah, I just think Miami. I think they might be done, man.
All right, and real quick, does Ole Miss survive against Florida, Jay or nay?
Jay, big time.
All right, there you go. Nice work by you, sir.
We'll see.
5 o'clock news is next, sponsored by our pals Integrated Media on the Postgame Show. All right, time to get to our 5 o'clock news from our buds Integrated Media. Let's jump to the news desk. I can smell it's got that new wood smell.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Let's get to Jay Phillips.
Yeah, that's my Old Spice. Anyway, welcome back in. Yes, it is 5 o'clock news time here on a Friday. Gamecocks headed to A&M tomorrow for the final conference game of the season, at least for South Carolina. But it's going to be a tall order. Gamecocks are 18.5-point underdogs to A&M, and the computer gives them a very slight chance to win this one, about a 16% chance, according to the ESPN computers. But does that matter? Well, maybe, maybe not. Here's Shane Beamer on what he sees as the keys to his team's victory.
Yeah, this is a team that in A&M that, as I mentioned earlier, they don't beat themselves. They really haven't turned the ball over hardly at all this year. So we've got to be able to go out there and create some turnovers. I would say if you're watching the game on television or you are at the game, when it's fourth down, I wouldn't leave my seat because you've got, in my opinion, the two best punt returners in the country out there, Vakari Swain and KC Concepcion for A&M. They've returned multiple punts for touchdowns this year. We have too. So that's going to be a key. We've got to be able to win the special teams battle because they're really, really good at it. And then it's going to be critical. I feel like I say this every week, but offensively, we've got to stay out of third and long. Yeah. They lead the nation.
They're incredible.
Yeah, they're like number one in sacks, number one in third down defense, and it's because they get teams in third and long. So we've got to do an unbelievable job on 1st and 10 of just being efficient and keeping ourselves out of third and long, because if we've got a bunch of third and longs, it's not going to be a lot of fun. We're going to make our share, but that's where they make a living, and we've got to do a good job of staying out of those situations.
And how much of that revolves around this new offensive setup that Carolina has, Terry? Because as we've talked about most of the season, South Carolina's average down and distance has been third and long, usually 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. South Carolina is at the bottom of the conference in sacks allowed, in pressures allowed. And as you just heard Shane say there, they're at the top of those categories, forcing you into 3rd and long, getting to the quarterback on a regular basis. It's on the surface not a great matchup for South Carolina. So so much, in my opinion, is dependent upon what South Carolina can do differently to avoid the scenarios they've been in, let's face it, most of the season.
Yeah, those are the things that have hurt this team. I mean, 3rd and longs, sacks, your success rate is low. Just all those things have been a huge problem. And Jay, those are things we talk about beating yourself. That's what they've been doing, beating themselves. I mean, how many times have we seen 3rd and 1 or 2 turn to a 3rd and 7 on a procedure penalty, or they're sitting at a 3rd and 3, and all of a sudden, and let's say they're a 3rd and 3 at the opposition's 20, and then all of a sudden Lenoris gets sacked, and now it's 3rd and 18 from the 35, and now you got a long field goal. We've seen that stuff all year with this team, and what we've been saying all year. Yeah, South Carolina has been beaten by their opponent, but they've been beaten more by South Carolina.
Yes, as much anyway. Absolutely, man. In several games, there's no question of that, and that's again, if you stop beating yourself, you're in a lot more of these games. You need to be as full as possible roster-wise. Carolina had an off week to heal up. Here's Shane Beamer with the at least Carolina Calls version of the injury report.
It was pretty good yesterday, and then we had some things that flared up a little bit in practice today. But, yeah, Shivers and Henry will be out. Josiah Thompson's a little bit banged up. He'll be listed on the injury report tonight when it comes out that we have to release, I think, at 8 or whenever it comes out. He'll be on that. Hopeful for him on Saturday. It's nothing major. And then Jalewis Solomon, one of our special teams players and young defensive backs, he aggravated something in practice today, so I would say he would be doubtful for Saturday. But outside of that, for it to be Game 10 in November after the stretch that we've just had in the month of October, feel fortunate that we are where we are. But I hate that I just named 3 offensive tackles that are going to be out or could be out on Saturday, especially against this front four.
Terry, hard to say, how much injuries have played into the offensive line struggles. Certainly they have. To what degree, I suppose, is what I mean when I say that. Last year we talked about it. They had stability up front. And while there were still limitations, things were certainly better. So you do have to think that for whatever reasons this year, again, injuries have been just as much a part of it because we see the star ratings by these guys. We know they were highly recruited, and that doesn't mean everybody pans out to be a terrific ball player at this level. But you can hear it in Shane's voice there that, man, we just can't seem to go into a ball game with a healthy stable of offensive linemen, and that I'm not sure they have all year.
Yeah, it's a combination. Look, last year they were a cohesive unit. I think Josiah Thompson missed one start, and that was it, right? The rest of those guys posted every week. So this year the injuries have been an issue because, cohesion and the offensive line go hand in hand. I also think there's a lack of development issue and piece there is why you have a new offensive line coach. But I think injuries, look, you've heard it. We've all heard it our whole lives. Pay attention to football. The offensive line is 5 moving like 1. It's tough to have 5 moving like 1 when it's 15 or 12 or 9, right? It's very difficult. Yep. But I think that is the thing. If you could have had a cohesive 5 and you're still having these issues, then you far and away say it's development. But it's got to be a combination of injuries and development, absolutely.
We'll have more from Coach Beamer coming up in the Gamecock Notebook in just a second. There are other headlines to get to, though, in terms of the Gamecocks. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern, huge matchup between the USC's East and West. It is even being called the Sprouts Farmers Market Real SC. That's what they're going to call it tomorrow night. It's at Crypto Arena in L.A., number 2 South Carolina, number 8 Southern California. It'll be aired nationally on Fox, and, of course, we'll have it here in Columbia right here on 107.5 The Game. No Juju Watkins for Southern California this season, but they've got a young lady, Jazzy, and I just blanked because I didn't write down her last name, Jerry, dadgummit. But she, a freshman who is killing it for them. They're only 2-0. They had a big upset win over NC State the other day. It's in their building. I was talking to a good friend of mine who he and his wife are going to be out there. They're very excited about going to this one. Yeah, it's early. I get it. But this has all the makings of one of those potential March-type matchups.
Yeah, Davidson, my man. You're good.
Thank you.
I'm here for you.
I'm looking at my notes going, Jay, you didn't write down her last name. It's right here, Jazzy. And I guess I got distracted earlier. I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here for you. You're good. You're all good.
I appreciate that.
You know what, really,
Joyce Edwards.
You could just call her Jazzy. That's fine.
Well, Jazzy's more fun. She's going to be a one-namer. Eventually that's what it'll be. Anyway, Joyce Edwards leads Carolina, 18.3 points per game. Medina Okot is the top rebounder at 9 per game. So should be a good one. And by the way, Jazzy Davidson does not lead Southern Cal in scoring. That's London Jones at 17.5. Again, that one tomorrow night. It's late, but don't worry. You'll have watched Carolina play football by then, and the Georgia-Texas game will be on, but you can flip around, or if you have multi-view on your favorite device. I don't know if you still have YouTube TV. There may be troubles.
Or
I don't think they're.
You can watch Texas and Georgia and listen to the women on 107.5 The Game in Columbia.
Savvy. Brad will be out there ready for the call.
Ready to roll.
Good for Brad.
I know. Nice stuff. Trip, right?
Yeah. Man, Brad's gone to the Bahamas and Paris and L.A. He's doing all kinds of stuff. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Speaking of the Gamecock women, Shelley Smith's team in about 50 minutes will kick off in the NCAA tournament, their 13th consecutive trip to the NCAAs. They'll be at Wake Forest. It's, again, 6 o'clock kickoff tonight, and the game will be streamed live on ESPN+. Gamecocks took one on the chin to Alabama in the SEC tournament, but they've advanced in this one a few times. So Wake Forest is good. They're hosting for a reason. But we'll see if South Carolina can get it done tonight, 6 o'clock for Shelley Smith's Ball Club. Continuing our integrated media headlines of the day. Last night, the final big awards for Major League Baseball were handed out. Shohei Ohtani wins his 4th MVP, 3rd in a row. No, that's Judge that won his 3rd. But Shohei won his 4th, Terry, obviously with the back-to-back now with the Dodgers, back-to-back World Championships with the Dodgers. I heard one of the CBS Sports Minutes a second ago that said, we're getting to a point where we're going to call Shohei Ohtani the best baseball player of all time. I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm ready to put him in the conversation. He's going to have to finish his career. And when you've got Babe Ruth and Willie Mays and Henry Aaron and others that have done such great things, I'm not quite ready to put Shohei there yet. But considering what he means to baseball, what he means to his team, I don't have any problem at all with him being the MVP. I do, however, sir, have a bit of a problem with Aaron Judge being the AL MVP. Now, look, I'm a stickler for this, so this is gonna be me editorializing during a news segment. But I've told this audience many times, I am a big believer in the V of MVP, valuable. I'm not saying that Aaron Judge isn't incredibly valuable to the New York Yankees. But compared to what Cal Raleigh meant, in my opinion, to the Mariners, for a couple of reasons, I don't see how Cal Raleigh finishes second to Aaron Judge. If you want to do MOP, just the single best player in the American League, sure. I'll give you Aaron Judge on that. Somewhat begrudgingly, Terry, but I'll give you that. But when it comes to MVP, Aaron Judge is a decent outfielder. He's an amazing hitter, and good for him to win the batting title. He may be at some point here able to win a triple crown. But Cal Raleigh hit 60 home runs, and he did it behind the plate for a team with a payroll about half in New York. I don't think that's right, man.
I look at it this way, and here's my thing about it. Because valuable is in the name of the award. Now, if you're going to go by who's the most valuable to their team in the American League or National League, that's really what you're saying with the award, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's where it's at. I mean, look, Aaron Judge is the best player in the American League, and that's not arguable. I mean, look at the offensive stats. He's a plus defender. He can play center if you need him to. I mean, and what Aaron Judge has done offensively is filthy. So it's not an argument who has put up the best offensive stats in the American League or whatever. But this award is not about the best player. It's about the most valuable. And if you want to get away from that and just say most outstanding player, fine, go with it. But you can't one year look at the most valuable player to a winning team and the next year go, well, we're going to pick the best player. It doesn't work that way to me. You've got to be consistent on it. And if you're going to go valuable player, then it's a different conversation. And that goes past stats, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's where this whole thing's at for me. I can sit here all day and make a case about Cal Raleigh, make a case for Aaron Judge, make a case for whoever, because it's a very subjective argument. But at the end of the day, Major League Baseball, the writers, the people that vote for this, have to start, okay, what do you really want this award to be? And if you want it to be valuable, then every year it's got to be the most valuable player. It just can't be, it can't move every year, Jay, is what I'm saying.
I agree, and I think too often it does. And look, I'm not here to say, oh, my God, this is just highway robbery. I understand, like you just pointed out. I mean, look, Judge hit 53 homers. He won the batting title. Like I say, you and I think he's a good outfielder. I don't think he's a, I think Raleigh is a very good catcher. But when you're playing every day behind the plate, we all know what the position of catcher means to the sport. I say, and again, value to his team this season.
And the point
I just don't see how it's not
real quick. So we got to get the break. The point you make too is catchers hitting 60 home runs doesn't happen.
Right.
Let's talk about how rare that is for a catcher who, like you said, puts on that gear and catches 130 games or whatever, 140. That takes away from you offensively. It just does. And what Raleigh did behind the plate and hitting 60 bombs is a thing, man, just to your point.
I agree. So, anyway, congratulations to both winners, but I really thought Cal Raleigh should have been the AL.
You don't mean that to Aaron Judge. You're just being nice. Come on, man.
I like Aaron Judge. I do. I like Judge. I just don't think he was this year's most valuable player. Gamecock Notebook is next. That was our integrated media headlines.
All right, time to get to that Gamecock notebook. That dirty, smelly, nasty, ratty Gamecock notebook that Jay Phillips stole from the bookstore while a student at the University of South Carolina. Thank God the statute of limitations is over, you criminal.
You got to do what you got to do. A struggling, a struggling college kid, man.
That's right. But officer.
You gotta allocate your money to proper things when you're in college.
Yeah, I mean, pizza, going to 5 points and exactly.
Beer, things like that. No, not that I did that. Not at all. Gamecocks at the Aggies tomorrow. Shane Beamer. We've had a lot from Coach already, but a little bit more. Again, the story of the last couple of weeks, of course, is changing the offense. So I talked a lot about it. Now let's let Shane talk about it. What are the expectations? And how exactly do you manage those things tomorrow afternoon?
I'm very excited about the offense. There's only so much you could do from game 9 to game 10.
Yeah, we got to manage expectations.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think a new voice was needed and has been good. Coach Furry brings a lot of confidence and a lot of energy. And I feel like that's resonated with the offense. And then the fact that we had a bye week, we've had 2 weeks to prepare for A&M. Really like, the work that he and the rest of the offensive staff have done together and how they've worked together to put together a plan to go out to College Station and play well against a really, really, really challenging defense and the issues they put on you.
So, again, Terry, we don't have answers to this. We can only talk about it. I just don't know. When you look at, as I've said, the most points that this offense generated this season, the offense, not the team, the offense was 22. Mm-hmm. Is there a reason to believe fervently that suddenly you are able to go do even more than you've done against a team that is amongst the absolute best at everything they do defensively in their building at a time when they are trying to shake battered Aggie syndrome? Let's just call it what it is. That's what they call it out that way, or at least what others call it. Certainly the SEC shorts people do. But Mike Elko wants none of that. And I just – so, again, what are the expectations? I mean, I picked 34-20. So I guess that's my expectation, is that South Carolina can put a few points on the board, but are they going to do enough to really make it that any closer than that? I just – it's not that I don't believe they can, but you got to show me first, and that's where my expectation level is.
Yeah, I know it's really creepy. I did the same score, 34-20, which is really weird. But I'm like you. I'm like, look, what we've seen this year does not just jolt you with confidence off, because you're going to have to score to beat A&M. You just are. You got to get in the 30s, I believe, to beat A&M, especially in their dojo. And we just haven't seen evidence that this offense alone can generate points. Now, again, if Vakari Swain can get a return for a touchdown, you can get some kind of pick six, scoop and score, whatever. But when we're sitting here banking on those type of things, what does that tell you? Where we're at.
Yeah.
And
right.
Like I said, for me, and look, I don't think they win, but if we just start seeing stuff like you and I have been talking about all week or all year, look at what you have and build the best offense. Get the ball out of Lenore Sellers' hands fast, because this defense sacks people. And again, whether it's, shallow crossers and slants and bubble screens and just a regular screen, and, just do things to get the ball out of his hands and get it in your playmaker's hands. And obviously, you've got to run the offense through 16 and do the things that have worked for him this year. Get him out of harm's way, roll him, boot him. I don't know, put Kevlar on him, put him in a hazmat suit. I don't know, Jay, but you've got to change some things up. If you bring anywhere near the same offense you've been bringing, and you only tweak a little bit, this offense won't have a chance against that defensive front, especially in the pass rush. You just won't.
Well, to that point, and again, we won't get detail here, but here's a cut, number 10, Terry, from last night's Carolina Calls, Shane, on how, in a lot of ways, this offense can function.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about it, because if you look at, what we had offensively going back to game 1 with Virginia Tech to now, it's changed a lot. We're minus 2 staff members that we had that day in Atlanta to kick off the season. So we've got to handle the logistics and the mechanics of it. They've talked a lot about that as far as what they want to do. I'll leave it up to Coach Furry. Just give me what he wants to do on Saturday in regards to up or down, and then what he does will affect everyone else. But the plan so much is put together during the week where collectively, and then he is the primary play caller on Saturday. But you don't want in the middle of the drive, he's got all kinds of coaches throwing suggestions in his ear.
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah. So
including yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I try and keep my mouth shut until I really need to say something, but let him get in the flow. But he knows what Sean Elliott and the rest of the offensive coaches want to do from a run game standpoint. He knows what he wants to do from a run game standpoint, and that's one reason it was easy to promote Mike. You get around a lot of receiver coaches, and the only thing they know is the passing game, and they couldn't even tell you the name of a running play.
Right.
He's very knowledgeable about what we were doing offensively. He's called plays before. He's got a good mind, and I'm excited to see the stamp that he's able to put on the offense on Saturday and then going forward in these next couple games also.
But it's got to start tomorrow, Terry. I mean, must win mode. If you are going to get a bowl game, you have no choice. You have to win tomorrow. So, I mean, what can Carolina do to ramp it up quickly, early, often? That's the big question, and we just don't know yet.
No, that's the thing. And can the defense hold on while the offense figures it out? I mean, that's the thing.
Fair question.
I mean, this defense has done a nice job this year hanging in there in games and giving this football team a chance to win as long as they can. Like, I could see, and again, I hope I'm wrong, I could see a scenario like Ole Miss where you're hanging around. It's a one-score game. Your defense is doing everything they can. Like A&M's moving the ball, but you find a way to get off the field on third down, or you're holding them to field goals or whatever. And you're hanging, but then finally your defense can't hang on anymore because your offense just can't be as productive as you need. I mean, that's what happened in the Ole Miss game, right?
Right. Before we go, one more from the notebook here, one more from Shane, but this is his scouting report of the A&M Aggies and what he sees.
Just one a year older. You watch the tape. Now, they lost some really good players. I mean, you watch the NFL on Sundays, and you'll see a lot of guys that played on that A&M team last year. Certainly, when you look at the defense, they're all back. And they're better and really dangerous. Offensively, the quarterback is a year older. If you remember when we played them last year, they were kind of going back and forth between a couple quarterbacks, and they've settled on Reed, and he's dynamic, doing an awesome job. But then the weapons they have on the outside, and adding Craver, the receiver from Mississippi State, and then Concepcion, the receiver from NC State. Those two guys are real weapons, and that's where they're different. It's just not that they had bad receivers last year, because they didn't. But these two guys are electric and have really made their offense go. And then the quarterback's a year older and really playing well. And then what they're doing, I mean, they're doing what you have to do to win football games. They're not beating themselves. They don't turn the ball over. They don't give up sacks. They don't have tackles for loss, meaning negative plays on offense. And then defensively, they're great on third down. So they're doing the things you need to do to be successful.
Big task tomorrow for South Carolina. Again, about 18-point underdogs. It's an early kick in College Station. Maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe some new wrinkles give Carolina a chance to hang around. We'll find out. Terry and others getting up bright and early tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I'd like to wake up at 7.
That would be great. I'll just sleep in the studio. Wear the old 107.5 The Game pajamas and just jump on the live stream and do the pregame.
Yeah, those are fancy. Yeah, good stuff. But that's when we'll get things going tomorrow. And, again, a noon Eastern time kick from Kyle Field. All right, that's the Gamecock Notebook. Now we need 2 of you, because it's time to play this week's edition of the Wild Card Showdown. Elijah will be in the house to play as well. 803-404-6100. Find a way to beat us. We'll hook you up with some beer and one of our beer cards. 803-404-6100. 2 of you to play the showdown. That's next.
quick check on the traffic. We've got some stop and go going on in Columbia, I-20 westbound. Faro Road, that's exit 72. Monticello Road, exit 68. So in that little span of road, you got some slow down there. I-26 westbound stop and go as well. Sunset Boulevard, exit 110, and St. Andrews Road, exit 106. Now to the accidents. We'll start in Lexington, Augusta Road, between Ermine and Watling Road. In West Columbia, Meeting Street at 12th Street. In Columbia, O'Neill Court between Two Notch and Park Lane Road. Spears Creek Church Road and Two Notch. St. Andrews Road at Tram Road. St. Andrews Road at Bush River Road. I-176 Broad River Road at St. Andrews Road. Wild Card Showdown coming up next here on the game. Time to get to the Wild Card Showdown. Robert and Randy are on the phone. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell in the house. We ready to roll there, Mr. J?
Let's do it, then. Let's cue the band, and we'll get this week's edition going. I don't know if the band is ready yet.
Oh, band will be ready in just a second.
They're out there playing pinball.
That's true.
Got to get it back to the instruments.
By the way, the biggest offender of the pinball is Dreamy Josh, who makes his quote-unquote sales calls downstairs.
And that explains why the high score is way too high. I've been trying to reach it, and I would not do it if you locked me in here for a week.
Oh, absolutely.
I will admit that I miss playing Avengers Pinball and look forward to getting back in there and playing ASAP.
It's very cool, man.
It is fun. All right, we got Robert, we got Randy, we got Wild Card Showdown, we got Elijah, again, with his short hair and his Doors T-shirt. That is a Doors T-shirt you're wearing,
Oh,
right?
yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I
You
thought so.
already
Just
know.
making sure.
You already know.
I'm watching I'm watching you guys on. I'm not part of the YouTube stream. Terry said I couldn't do that. Or something like that.
We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that.
We can't
image.
cross the street.
Yeah.
It's like Ghostbusters. We can't cross the street.
Exactly.
But Robert and Randy ready to go. Robert, happy Friday. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, my man. I'm hanging in there. Randy, you ready to go?
Yes, sir. Bring it on.
All right. Here we go, guys. 4 against the spread, a wild card game for each of us. Have a little tiebreaker stat, which has mattered, it seems, more than most seasons past. Robert, I'll start with you. Alabama hosting Oklahoma. It is the Tide, -5.5 in a big, big game. What do you think, Robert?
I think the Tide win by a touchdown, so give me the Tide minus the 5.5.
Bama minus the points. All right, Randy.
I think I like the way Oklahoma looks.
Oklahoma plus the points on the road. Elijah Campbell.
I do love that Oklahoma defense, and I think they're going to keep this thing a really tight game until the fourth quarter. But if Led Zeppelin taught us anything, Jay Phillips, that the levee's going to break, and it's going to in the fourth quarter. Alabama wins by 10.
But that guy.
Alabama wins late. I like that analogy, though, and that reference. Terry Ford.
All right, yeah. That reminds me of AC/DC, Jay. Dirty deeds don't. No, anyway. I think this thing's gonna be tight. I will take Alabama to cover. I think they win by like 7 or 8. I think it's gonna be a close game in the fourth quarter. But I'll take the Tide, given the points at home.
Robert likes that one. Elijah likes it a little more. I'm kind of where Randy is. I just feel like Oklahoma keeps this game close. I wish I was quick enough on my feet to come up with a Zeppelin counter reference to Elijah, but I'll think of one later. But you know what, people? I want Oklahoma and these points. I think Bama probably wins, but closer than the experts think. So give me Oklahoma plus the 5.5. To Athens we go next. Randy, I'll start with you. Georgia, a 6.5 point favorite over Texas. What do you think, Randy?
Georgia.
There wasn't a lot of conviction, but it was a pretty quick answer.
It was pretty
so I'll give him
quick.
that.
Yeah, Randy was on it
Yeah.
quick. He didn't have to think that
Yeah.
much.
Robert?
Yeah, I think Georgia handles them. Kirby's got Sarkisian's number there, Texas, and I don't see any reason that Arch is going to go on the road and upset them.
All right, there you go. So Robert's got Georgia. I'll go next. I agree. I think I feel like Georgia, fourth quarter Georgia. Terry, you mentioned them earlier. Shows up, and I don't know that that Texas does what Bama did and scores a lot of points early on the Dogs. So, and with the way Georgia played last week in Starkville, give me Georgia to cover this one. Elijah Campbell.
I'm going to zig while others zag, and I think because everybody else is picking Georgia is the reason why I think Texas wins this game. And Arch Manning has quietly been the most improved quarterback throughout the course of the season. He has gotten a lot better as the year's gone along. That defense is still nasty. They
really
force
good.
a lot of turnovers, a lot of negative plays. I think the offense has found its rhythm, and in a year where nobody believes in them to win this game is the year they finally do it.
All right, Elijah Campbell with Texas to win the game outright. Terry Ford.
Reminds me of a Taylor Swift song, Jay. No, anyway. All right.
Bad blood.
Honestly, and look, Arch Manning, they're starting to get the ball in his hand quick. He's throwing these little short passes or getting yak yards in the passing game, and they've kind of cut down they gave Manning too much early in the year, and they've kind of cut it back. And he's been really good to his credit. All that being said, give me Georgia. I think they cover the points at home. The only team that Kirby doesn't have the number is the guys that wear that red out of Tuscaloosa. So I'll take Georgia.
Seems like it.
I'll take Georgia and give the points.
To the NFL we go. Terry, I'll stay with you to start this one. The Rams are at home, if you can call it that. 3.5-point favorites over Seattle. This is a good game in the West.
Tell you something. Because they play in 70 time zones away, nobody knows. Seattle's bleeping good, man.
Yeah.
They are really,
awesome.
really good. And I'm going to take Seattle.
Seattle
Look,
plus the
I
points.
love the Rams. I really do.
I get you.
But that Seattle crew, man.
Seattle's good. No, this is a great game. This might be there's some good ones this week. You got the Bronco Chiefs game. You got the Eagles and the Lions. But honestly, this game, big divisional game. I like this.
And by the way, me picking a team quarterback by Sam Darnold is a sign of the apocalypse. There's no doubt
Well,
about it.
there you go. All right. Well, it's upon us. Elijah Campbell, what do you think? Rams minus 3.5.
Yeah, I'll take whichever team is the underdog because they are both that evenly matched. So I'll take whoever's getting the points, but I do believe the Seahawks win this game because I'm starting to really warm up to the idea that they're not just a contender to win that division. I think they're a contender to end up playing on that one big Sunday in February.
Wow, how about that? All right. Man, y'all got me. I was like all about the Rams to win by about 5 or 6 points. Now y'all got me changing my mind. Should I do that? Should I not? Should I do that? Should I not?
Go with Seattle, Jay. Go with Seattle.
I'm gonna stick with where my gut was. I'll take the Rams. I'll take the Rams again at wink wink home.
Yep.
To do it. Robert, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I was going to go with the Rams if anybody else wasn't, but I think Seattle's the better team right now.
All right, Seattle.
Good call.
All right, there we go. And Randy.
I like the Rams.
All right. At least I'm not alone. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it.
Randy sounded like that was painful. You okay,
Sympathy
Randy?
pick. All right, that's Philadelphia 2.5-point favorites over Detroit. This is in Philly. Terry, I'll start with you.
I'll take the Eagles at home. With all the
Philly.
smoke this week, they're going to go out there and they're going to play well and they'll win outright.
All right, Randy, what do you think?
I like the Eagles. The coach
Philly.
supposed to be back this week.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Robert.
Yeah, I think Dan Campbell calling plays again. I think they can put some numbers up on Philadelphia's strong defense. So give me the Lions.
Detroit football Lions. That's Elijah Campbell's turn.
Yep, and Dan Campbell I trust. And I also learned a stat today from our pal Noah Chast from ABC Columbia, who joined me on the early game, reminding me that the Eagles have a historically high 3-and-out rate on offense. You cannot do that against Detroit. Give me the Lions.
They far and away lead the league in 3-and-outs.
Yeah, by a lot. I didn't realize it was that big of a gap.
It's crazy
this morning.
Yeah.
I think this is a week where maybe the Philly guys just don't get it done. And the way Detroit's been playing in the last month or so, I like it. So I'll take Detroit plus the road points. All right, wild card time. Randy, I will start with you. You have got Southern California 7.5-point favorites at home over Iowa.
Iowa's been playing pretty good this past couple weeks, so let me go with Iowa.
Iowa plus the points. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick.
No,
Robert, you have got South Florida. No, you got your own game. Hold on. You got South Florida.
Okay.
9.5-point favorites at Navy.
Yeah, give me the midshipmen. I think they can hold up.
Navy plus the home points.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Terry Ford, you've got Utah, 9.5-point favorites at Baylor.
Give me Utah.
Utes.
Give me Utah. Baylor's defense can't stop, in the words of Bart Scott, a nosebleed.
All right. Since I'm in first, I guess that means I get to go last because Elijah's been doing it all season, but suddenly I passed him by a game. Elijah?
Losing steam.
Notre Dame, 12.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh.
Oh, man, this might be the toughest spread to have to do.
I know.
But you know what? I think Notre Dame finds a way to win by 14. Give me the Irish.
Notre Dame. And I have got Duke, 5.5-point favorites over Virginia in Durham. Sorry, Devils fans. I think Tony Elliott's Wahoos go to Wallace Wade and get it done. At least give me those points. All right, Robert and Randy, sit tight. We'll get you the tiebreaker on the other side here as we wrap up the showdown. It is time for you to see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the men's clinic. Get a one-on-one consultation. Get to the root of the issues. What's not working for you? Could be a host of things. Well, when you can get to see the guys at the men's clinic, they're going to get you a one-on-one. They'll get the right lab work done for you to make sure that all the blood work is there and then prescribe a plan that is just right for you. So don't be the guy that wants to tough it out. Don't be the guy that thinks it'll go away. And most importantly, don't be the guy that's embarrassed about things that aren't working the way they used to. Get to feeling better when you see Dr. Balknight and his team. Again, experts in healthcare for men, dedicated to making you feel like yourself again. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. 803-875-MENS. Call the Men's Clinic.
It's a Football Friday on the game. Wild Card Showdown. Going to wrap it up right now. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, Terry Ford, Robert, Randy, we're all here. Take it, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. All right, Robert, Randy, appreciate you guys holding on. We got to get the tiebreaker because, again, that has mattered a lot. And I can't remember who. I think it might have been Elijah that referenced this. Somebody did about where Arch is right now. But we want total offense for Arch Manning in Athens tomorrow night. So let that marinate for a second. Total offense for Arch. Not for Texas, for Arch tomorrow night. And I will let Randy give us the first number.
241.
241. And I'll go to Terry Ford.
Well, that's way too early for Terry Ford. Anyway.
Yep, too late.
All right, I'm going to go, honestly, I'm going to go 272.
Okay. He's going to take mine.
272.
Elijah's
right.
quite disgusted. I just took his number.
You did not.
Oh, I did not.
That's crazy.
I can't see
I'll go
it.
next.
Go ahead.
I'll go next, and I'm a little. I'm in between the two of you. 255.
All right.
255. Robert.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 274.
274.
I like a man who plays the game.
You just Terry Forded Terry Ford.
I know.
A little bit of cushion there. And that leaves us with Elijah Campbell.
Oh, it'd be awfully silly for me to pick him lower than you guys after I picked them to win the game, but I think he throws for 271, runs for 27 for a grand total of 298.
298. And everybody is in. All right. Well, Robert, Randy, beat the other guy of the two of you. Beat two of us. We'll hook you up with a 107.5 The Game craft beer card. And it's been mixed. We've had some winners, and we've done okay ourselves. We're getting a little better of late, but we'll find out. But Robert, Randy, appreciate you guys for listening first and foremost, of course, and for wanting to play along with us and putting up with us, too. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thanks,
we'll
fellas.
let you know on Monday, all right?
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Go Cox.
All right. There you go. That's Robert. That's Randy. That's the showdown.
I thought about this. We should maybe change the rule that if one of them wins and they win the beer card, they have to buy us a round of brew.
Ooh.
Because it does give you a lot of beers.
Yeah, we could put that forth for next season. You want to
I
do
like
that
that idea. It's a rule for next year. If you win, you got to buy us a round.
Put that in the in the committee hopper, man. That'll be like one of those pre-filed legislative bills, Terry. But yeah, last week, I went 4-1, and I have taken a 1-game lead over Elijah Campbell. I'm 30-25 through 11 weeks. Elijah is 29-26. Terry is right on the heels at 27-28. So we've got a nice bunching here with plenty of football left to play.
Especially the way we started. We sucked in the beginning. God.
Jay's on a heater. Jay being 5 games over 500 is pretty remarkable right now.
I have had a good month to get there. So let's hope that continues. But we've still got. We got a lot of wild card showdowns left, y'all. We got the rest of this regular season championships. We got some bowl games, and then we'll get into a few things around the pro playoffs. So we got time.
We got time to screw. You're saying we got time to screw this up? Is that what you're saying?
Plenty.
Sure, and that's more likely. That's
absolutely
more likely.
It's more likely.
Elijah, Terry, and I independently of one another picked 34-20 Aggies tomorrow. Where was your prediction for the great Jack Veltri and our Gamecock Central write-up?
I do find it funny that the two of you picked A&M to score 34 points because I also picked them to score 34 points, except I have South Carolina scoring only 14. I think this is probably a 20-14 game going into the fourth quarter, and ultimately the dam breaks, and South Carolina's defense, which would hold up for about 3 quarters, ultimately can't keep holding up their end of the bargain. It's kind of going to look like the Oklahoma game in that regard. A&M just runs the ball too well, even without Le'Veon Moss. Reuben Owens is a dude. If E.J. Smith is your third running back in that room, you're doing pretty well. That RPO attack can only keep you guessing correctly for so long. I think A&M does have a big fourth quarter and dominates it the way most teams have dominated the fourth quarter against South Carolina. Reminder, they're only 2-7 in the fourth quarter.
Marcel Reed in the running game is ridiculous too.
Yeah, so I think they have too much firepower to keep off the scoreboard for 4 quarters.
We'll see what happens. Elijah's got the high school scoreboard show. He and Justin coming up in just a little bit. And, again, all-day coverage tomorrow, Carolina and the Aggies. Again, thanks to Robert. Thanks to Randy, Terry Ford. Great to be back here today. Elijah, thank you for coming in. To all of you, thank you for listening. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. We'll see you on Monday. And one final word from our friends at Integrated Media. How you watching what you watch? You want to do it better? Of course you do. Call 803-948-8327. Now is a wonderful time to get that home theater built, whether it's from the ground up, whether it's upgrading with today's newest equipment, both televisions and speakers. Maybe you want to go outdoors. Great time to watch your favorite games outside, maybe build a little fire, and have a perfect home theater setup out there that looks and sounds just like the indoors. Also a great time to secure your home this time of year. They can put in video security, video doorbells, lighting, and you can control it all from one app right there on your phone. So it's not just home theater. It is complete home technology. And I'm telling you, this is a great time to get the guys into the house. 803-948-8327. Nobody better when it comes to home theater and home technology than Integrated Media.